I think the questions that people often wonder when they have a loved one suffering from depression or they think that they might be suicidal is, how do I ask the question? People feel often very uncomfortable and because they're not sure how to ask the question. So sometimes they avoid it. So the first thing is ask. You need to ask the question in order to know what the answer is. So if you're observing behaviors or signs, or you're worrying that there's something that the person's experiencing, I think it's better to ask. The worst case scenario is you're incorrect and they're not feeling that. But I think asking is a first step. How you might ask, I think that also can be something you consider. You might want to say it with compassion and empathy. So by saying, for example, saying, sometimes I know that people, when they suffer from depression, things might get so bad that they may feel like life isn't worth living or they don't want to be here anymore. Is that something that's ever happened to you before? And I think asking the question like that really, it has a level of empathy and compassion so people can hopefully feel more comfortable in answering the question honestly. I think also sometimes assuming that suicide might be on the menu or might be on the table is really a good starting point to recognize that, hey, if someone's suffering from depression, there might be a good chance that they also suffer from suicidal thoughts or have had those kind of issues in the past. Using direct language, asking directly, like I said. And then I think also another tip I would give is that going into the conversation with knowing the resources. So if you're going to be asking the question, you might get an answer that then may surprise you or you may alarm you and you don't know what to do with that information. So I think coming with a toolkit of, hey, these are the numbers or resources or places that I could potentially help this person and provide them with is really important, because I think you might ask the question and then not know what to do with it. And with suicide, especially, or suicidal ideation, you really need to help that person in that moment potentially. So I think just knowing the resources in advance would be really, really smart.